It is finally time to start transplanting my tomatoes into the raised beds, so I am going to show you what I personally do to transplant my tomatoes in my garden. Here are just two of my tomato starts. I start all of my tomatoes hydroponically now, but this one I didn't end up potting up in soil because I was too lazy and knew transplanting was on the horizon, so to harden it off, I just put it in this bowl with some water outside and it worked fine. I'm going to transplant this one first, and I'll put it right here in this corner of my raised bed. I've already amended this bed with some fresh compost and more soil since the bed settled quite a bit from last season, but I want to add what I consider my planting trifecta: bone meal, blood meal, and worm castings. I have found that my tomato plants do really well when I use this to transplant. Worm castings in general are just magic, but the blood meal will add nitrogen, and the bone meal will add some phosphorus, which is really good for the tomato plants. I am going to dig my planting hole, and I'm digging a pretty deep hole. This white powdery stuff in the soil here is actually diatomaceous earth that I put in here before I added more soil and compost because I was dealing with a pill bug situation. Next, I'm going to add my trifecta in no particular order. Here's a nice heaping amount of worm castings, and the great thing about worm castings is that you can't really burn your plants with it. You can't overfeed a plant with it. And now the blood meal. Nice little handful there, and the bone meal. All right, and now the most exciting part. The tomato plant is going in the soil. One thing I like to do is bury the stem deeply. Some people have said that these little hairs on the stems are actually little roots, and when they're buried, they will start to grow out more, and so it helps give you a stronger plant with more roots. But I have also heard that that is not true, and that they are just trichomes, which helps reduce transpiration and protect the plant tissue from sun and interferes with pest pressure. Either way, you can plant tomatoes deeply, and you should, because it helps stabilize a plant a little more in these earlier stages, and deeper roots help the plant stay cooler. Depending on how deep you bury it, you may need to remove the lower leaves, and that's totally fine. It's not going to hurt the plant. Just be gentle and don't accidentally snap the main stem in half. So now I'm just about ready, and I'm going to mix up my worm castings, bone meal, and blood meal a bit and make the hole just a bit deeper. And in we go, and I'm just going to gently bury this plant in, and I'm going to give it a good drink of water. And if you want to mulch, you can mulch. I am a little unconventional in that I don't like to mulch. Yes, it can help cut down on watering, but for me, it's an invitation for pill bugs and earwigs to congregate, so I don't like that. I prefer planting some other things in the area, maybe some radishes or flowers to help keep the soil covered. Moving forward in the growing season, I'll use a tomato fertilizer like this one. This company has a granular version of this. This is the liquid. I think I like the granular version better because I feel like it goes a longer way than the liquid kind. But either way, this is good stuff. And I might also include some kelp meal too. Fish fertilizer once a week or so is also really great for tomato plants, even though it reeks. And of course, more worm castings or worm tea is always a great option too. There's different ways to support or trellis your tomatoes. Choose what works best for you. Use what you've got on hand. I'm old school, and I'm just going to use a classic tomato cage because it's what I've got. I'm going to get the rest of my tomato plants transplanted and then get these in cages as well.